What is up, and welcome to Ask DLF. This is Taco Tuesday, or as I said in my tweet earlier, for your Australian friends, it's Waffle Wednesday. I think it was a couple of our friends from Australia who had some comments on that, which was great. But we are here for the first time ever, Tyler, during a football game that could decide if somebody stays in their playoffs or not. So really interesting thing. Do you have any leagues or anything you're particularly paying attention to that you need to happen right now?
No.
Nothing. Okay.
No, nothing.
I do have one. I'm trying to beat Lindellians in a league. And I am down by a few points and I have Hurts. So I am watching that game with interest and intrigue right now. So but we are here not just for that or to talk about my league. We're here because we want to answer your questions as we do every single Tuesday, right here, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, every single Tuesday, Taco Tuesday for Ask DLF. We also ask questions to you like this one. Here's our question of the week. Does the last place team in your Dynasty League have a punishment? And if so, what is it? Already a couple of good answers in here. But we're going to answer your questions, things like that. Tyler, just in general, how's the week going? How's everything for you? Are you ready to take on the hour and a half of questions we've got here tonight?
You know, I feel like lately I've just turned into a little bit more of my my real self. You know, I've just been saying lately on Twitter, well, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. I'm going to just give you what I got. You don't like it. You can, I won't use the word I want to use on this. This is theoretically a family show. No show with me could really be a family show. But, this is allegedly a family show. You can, wherever you want to put that. Pretty much. I've just I've been there.
Yeah. Well, very good. Well, nobody is better at taking questions and answering them than Tyler. True. And I'll try to chime in and I'll try to, press them a little bit, see what kind of information we can get. And I think every Tuesday we have an opportunity to get smarter and learn about Dynasty Leagues and just talk it out with the best chat, the best comment section in the entire history of YouTube. We appreciate a lot of you guys already chiming in here on the last place punishment in your league. So Mace says 24 hours in a Waffle House. Each waffle still reduces the hour. That's still the classic punishment.
Yeah, I've heard that one many times.
Yeah, I like that. That's how many waffles do you think you could eat in what time frame? Like, could you eat 24 waffles or 20 waffles in 4 hours or something? Like, how do you do that?
Probably. I mean, I haven't had a waffle in years, but I think I could, right?
Yeah, seems like you could reduce that punishment down pretty well. BCS says, I was in a league one year where the last place team had to show up at the next draft and whatever the winner of the league suggested. So maybe a dress, ballerina outfit, tuxedo, etc.
Sure.
Have you ever played in a league like this?
No.
Okay.
I'm not fun.
Slippery Banana says, hey, amigos, appreciate the show. I appreciate you, Slippery Banana. Jesse says, doesn't play leagues that have a last place punishments, but do no league that does. Yeah, part of it is in Dynasty League, sometimes you're trying to get that last place, right?
Yeah, I've never heard actually of Dynasty Leagues having this. This is always redraft.
That's why I wanted to put that in there, just to see, like, is that something people do? Do they play with that last place, even if it's a Dynasty League? It seems like that might be something there. Jesse, one notable punishment, that was the last place guy had to watch the Emoji Movie every Sunday of the following season and then do a video review each week after watching it. He was a soldier. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The Emoji Movie. Ed is in the house. Appreciate you, Ed.
Well, no, I guess I don't really like the Emoji Movie.
What, the Emoji Movie?
I mean, Could be worse,
I've
right?
never heard you say you like a movie on this show. So for you to say you like the Emoji Movie
No, I
means
said
that
I
it
don't like it, but
must be
I mean,
special.
it could be a worse movie, right?
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I even though I've got kids, I have avoided actually watching that one. So Ed chimes in here again. Last place in my home league has to do a combine. It gets videotaped and it can be pretty remarkable. We run the 40 bench, etc. That's pretty good.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that, honestly. I like exercise.
That's
I don't want to
pretty
do
good.
it in the cold in New York like it is now, but
Shout out to the Dynasty Vipers, who this was one of our questions we asked a bunch over the offseason. Is we asked like the CBS crew, like a bunch of people, like who would win in a combine if it was, if they had, if like the football guys had a combine, who would win? If CBS, if ESPN, like if they happen to be a part of any of those groups, we would ask those sort of things. Adam in the house, Cal and Carp, the homies. Appreciate you, Adam. Always appreciate that comment. And then, yeah, Ed Winter also gets to set the losers team name for the year. I do like that one. I had a league one time where me and a buddy, we had the same names for like 3 years and then played for whoever loses has to get rid of the name. So that's just another fun little thing. Ways to keep leagues fun. Here's the truth, Tyler. Today is Tuesday, but there are NFL games on. And you know what? You can put almost any NFL game on, and it's hard to get people's eyes away from that screen. And, we might have a little bit trouble getting eyes away from the screen here live, but we're going to do our best. And we actually had a question come in via Twitter that we will talk about. If you're watching this, and you have a question, this is a good time to go ahead and put it out there because we do have some time and have the ability to answer your question. Here's one that we got on Twitter, week 16 and 17. Keep 2 quarterbacks out of the 3 4-point QB touchdown. Dak, Hurts, Taysom Hill. Who would you keep out of these 3 if you had to drop the other?
Well, I mean, in Dynasty, you have to drop Hill, but in redraft, I guess get rid of Dak.
Is that kind of crazy that we're getting rid of Dak at this point, right?
Not really. I mean, I did my rankings for week 16 and he came out at 12. So yeah, I have Hill at 10 and Hurts at 7. So Hurts looks fine today, by the way. So I'm very confident in that 7, right? But when I say fine, it's not, I'm not watching the game, but like fine as in the part that I did watch, he looks healthy. The ankle, he doesn't seem limited. It doesn't seem, he has 2 rushing touchdowns. There are 8 carries. It doesn't seem like the ankle is a problem. Yeah.
I agree. All right, let's go. Slippery Banana has a question here for us. If you're watching and you have a question, go ahead and use the live chat. If you're watching on Twitter and don't have an option to do a comment, come on over to YouTube. It's a better place to watch this anyway. You get a chance to ask a lot of these questions and see a lot of the answers. So many times during the show, we get a lot of answers, even from other people watching the chat. Works out really well that way. Slippery Banana, Superflex. Current running backs, Chubb, Zeke, Swift, Hunt, Mixon, and then junk like that. QBs, Russ, Mac, Cam, Heineke, Ben. Should you trade Zeke and Chubb for Burrow or Zeke, Chubb, Mac for Herbert? Either value, preferable, hold the running backs. What do you think?
I don't think that the difference between Burrow and Herbert is Mac. So I'd rather the first one over the second one. I'm not adding Mac to get from Burrow to Herbert or from Herbert to Burrow. So then if we look at the first one, Zeke and Chubb for Burrow, I mean, at this point, I'd probably rather have Burrow. Zeke probably would too, but dead in the water. And Chubb is also not, not so great. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about running backs already 26 each. I mean, you're going to have Burrow for 10 years. I think I'd rather have Burrow. The deal on the ride is closer.
the deal on the right is closer in value, you think?
Yeah, I think the deal on the right is about fair, actually.
So Zeke, Chubb, and Mac for Herbert?
Yeah, that's about fair. I mean, I'd still probably rather have Herbert, but that's a more fair trade. I think the deal on the left is pretty easily Burrow to me, actually. I don't think it's that close. Zeke is not worth much to me. I think Zeke to me is really worth very little.
So if you're looking at this, obviously you want to do the trade of Zeke Chubb for Burrow as opposed to adding in Mac to get Herbert. I don't think adding in Mac the difference between Burrow and Herbert probably isn't enough to be Mac.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not that big of a difference. It is a difference, but it's not that much. Mac is worth probably 2 firsts. So I don't think that the difference between Burrow and Herbert is 2 firsts.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I mean, you probably need a QB2. I wonder if it might be a little bit better to try and add Russ in instead of giving up 2 running backs. Because the only thing I worry about on this team is obviously you love Swift, but then Mixon's been really good, but like Mixon's getting a little bit older too. You need to get a little bit younger in some of those. And I don't know about trading 2 of these away. It's going to leave you pretty thin. Just
is what it is.
Yeah. It says, as the playoffs come to an end, what are some of the broad strokes that you take when looking at your roster in preparation for the next season?
The article's coming out this week.
Almost like Ed knew that.
No, I don't think Ed did know. Nobody knows that except Ken.
Oh, okay.
I mean, anyone who reads the article ideas thread and the DLF Slack knows, but I didn't tell anyone else. So
yeah. Well, I haven't read the article.
DLF would know.
But one of the things I think about is like, as I'm looking at my dynasty teams, is looking at like what players can just go. Like, what are some of the ones that
it's funny you mentioned that, actually, because that is literally the last word before I came on the show where I stopped writing was the word cut.
Mm-hmm.
Players you want to cut. That's the end of the last sentence I was writing. So
yeah, there you go.
Yes, I agree that section is about to be written.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. That's one of the steps that I would recommend taking for sure. And you'll see my put it into words for you.
Let's Jacob Calloway says traded Diami Brown for and a 2023 early second for DeAndre Hopkins.
I mean, Diami Brown is a bust, so he can go. He's irrelevant.
He sure feels that way, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, he's irrelevant. He's busted. So DeAndre Hopkins then. Sure, I guess. I mean, this is fine. I don't have a problem with this. How do you know it's an early second in 2023? That's a long time from now.
It is a long time from now.
I guess you can kind of, but
there are some teams in leagues that I play in where I can look at and I know they're not going to be competitive next year. I guess anything can happen, but sometimes
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, what do you expect to happen to his ADP over this offseason? Because
well, I mean, it's going to go down.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to go down.
How far though? Like, I mean, are we thinking like it's going down the way that Julio Jones did, like towards the last few years?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, yeah. I don't know why you would rely on DeAndre Hopkins coming back and providing fantasy. I mean, I guess you could, but I don't know why you would have confidence in that, really. Honestly,
yeah. I don't know. Interesting about Diami Brown. I'm trying to think if I should want to go into that or not, but maybe not. Maybe let's just leave that.
What happened with Diami Brown? Is it something I don't know?
No, I'm just curious. I know injuries typically are something that you like to give some excuses.
He's been healthy for a while, and he didn't do anything anyway.
Yeah.
And also, he had plenty of opportunity at the beginning of the year where it wasn't like one game. There was like 4 games where he had opportunity with Curtis Samuel injured. He didn't do anything in those games either. He ran a lot of routes and did nothing with them, which is actually the worst thing I want to see. So I don't see. It's also not like I don't remember any flash plays, nothing. I mean, do you remember anything he did that impressed you? Really? You remember even one thing? One? Can you think of one? Because I can't. I just have no memory of him doing anything that I liked. So, you don't get multiple chances these days.
It's true. I think the expectation was he would be used in a hybrid type role of some sort.
Didn't happen.
Which obviously didn't happen, and we'll see what their plan is for him.
Well, I mean, I feel like they're going to add a whole other receiver. I think they have to. I mean, you can't rely on Curtis Samuel didn't play at all. De'Ami Brown showed nothing. You don't think they're going to add someone else? I feel like
they got to add a quarterback first, right?
Well, that's a whole other thing, but I think they're going to add another receiver. I think they have to, and then that kind of muddies everything behind McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
Not interested in De'Ami Brown at all.
Rob Downs, I'm in a short bench league. Rank these wide receivers to keep into 2022 offseason. De'Ami Brown, that's probably not going to be one. Anthony Schwartz.
Wow. You didn't read the next two names.
And Demetric Felton, which is
he
the most
could be a running back, depending on your website.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's in this order because it's irrelevant, completely irrelevant, and why is he still on a roster? So,
what happened to Schwartz, man? What happened?
I don't know. They were getting him involved at the beginning, and now no. So yeah, he's going to be a pass for me. I mean, I could see why you would still spend a roster spot on Schwartz. Felton, I think not. Like, I think that's a waste of time. I think you can cut him. I think we saw if when Hunt and Chubb were out, if Felton still didn't do it. Felton has had so many opportunities, whereas Schwartz has been injured at least, and he has more draft capital. He's a third-round pick. So, I remember, I'm not saying to cut De'Ami Brown from your dynasty roster. I'm just saying I don't want him. Yeah, I don't expect anything from him. But you're going to have to roster players. I mean, most dynasty leagues have 250, 300 players rostered. De'Ami Brown is going to be one of them. Anthony Schwartz is a little bit more borderline, but probably still going to be on a roster for me in most deep formats. Demetric Felton, I think, I'd rather have I take my chances on Brashad Perriman at this point. Maybe he splashes something and signs somewhere. I'd rather look at that idea than look at anything with Demetric Felton. I think that one is a waste of time.
I would venture to say in a short bench league, I don't know that any of these need to be rostered.
Unless if it's a real dynasty league, I cannot see a real dynasty league where De'Ami Brown should not be rostered.
Yeah,
if it's that shallow, then it's not really dynasty. So I do feel like in De'Ami Brown is the one of these it's must roster. Anthony Schwartz is far from a must hold. If you're in a shallower format, you can drop him, especially Superflex, where you might want to roster some backup quarterbacks instead. I don't have any problem with that. I'm not attached to him.
Starting to get some questions coming in, which is really good. If you have a particular player you want to ask about keeping on your roster,
next time we go up against the NFL, we'll push the show back half an hour at least. More.
It's a good time. Good time to get Tyler's thoughts on a lot of these things.
But more also, time. There's not as many questions.
Yeah, so let's dive into a couple of these. SU says OBJ and Jermar Jefferson or a high 2023 second.
Well, Jermar Jefferson is worth nothing. So
nothing.
OBJ, nothing. You can cut him. OBJ or high second. I mean, the second the season's over, it's the second. It's still a fair deal at this point. But the second the season, and not after tonight. I mean, tonight is not good. Or at least it wasn't good for OBJ the last time I looked. Because
things
today
change fast around here.
What's up?
Things can change fast. I did see that Cooper Kupp just scored. So,
yeah, well, Cooper Kupp has 9 for 136 and 2. So, he's having a day. But
actually, that put me ahead of Lindelians. Sorry, Lindelians. Okay. I won.
Odell has 1 for 7. Ben Skowronek has 4 for 42, who I have mentioned on this show many times. Just for the record. Nobody cares, but what do I know, right? What do I know about anything? I've been frustrated lately. People,
what do you think about the dynasty value of Reynolds, of Craig? Is it Craig?
Craig Reynolds.
It's Craig. What do you think of the dynasty of Craig?
Obviously, Josh Reynolds is on the same team. That's why it's confusing. They have Craig Reynolds and Josh Reynolds.
I know exactly. But what do you think? Does he have any value? He looks good.
Sure. I don't know. There's a lot of players like this. He's got to be on a roster if he plays well over the next few weeks. I don't even know what his contract status is. He just got there. They just signed him to the active roster. So I don't know if he's going to be what kind. He's going to be some sort of free agent. I don't know what kind, but roster him. If he shows out, I mean, what's he really competing for though? Where's he going to, I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to watch if he has a strong end of the season. Just I don't know. Does it maybe it just becomes a high end stash or something like that? I'd rather have him right now than any of the other ones on that list that we just talked about.
Not over Brown, but over because Brown was a really good prospect. Yes, I don't like to see failure. I don't like failure, but I'll hold out some hope for a good prospect just in case. It has happened before. It's happened before where someone shows nothing at all year one, and then year two, they come out and they're good, a good prospect like that. It has not happened recently. I mean, who can you think of really recently who was a good prospect, busted year one, and then came out year two and was good? I mean, who really recently has done that? You try to think of someone, right? I mean, who really fits that mold? Busted year one, then came in year two and was good, who was a good prospect. I mean, try to
think of something. Use the live chat there to let us know.
Try to think of someone who fits that model, because I'm not really coming up with anyone who fits that description. You have to go way back to find players like that. Players who were good prospects who kind of broke out in year two after an abysmal year one. There's plenty of players who broke out after a decent year one.
Le'Veon Bell is the one that comes to mind. Is like Le'Veon Bell didn't have a very good first year.
Was a rock star.
Yeah, receivers is a little bit different, I guess.
Melvin Gordon is a good example for running back. Great prospect. Terrible rookie year.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. We did this one. So let's talk about, Ed says he likes Brown over Schwartz. Felton a distant third.
Felton is irrelevant. Yeah, completely irrelevant.
I agree with that. Good question from BCS. We talked about this.
I'm tired of talking about Barkley.
Is it time to give up on Barkley? But this is if you can get a first and a second in 2022 or 2023. So like one first and 1 second. Do you do it? What feels light?
I don't even know at this point. I guess, right? I mean, in a super flex at this point, I mean, it's not even that's what he's worth. I mean, that's his value. He's not worth much more than that.
I just don't think I would do it because somebody in your league over the offseason is going to talk themselves into Barkley and pay more.
Are they?
I think so.
And how many times have you been burned now? This is year 3 straight of being burned.
I just think somebody's going to talk. That's like last week, whoever it was, somebody was like, oh, are you back on Barkley? And I was like, he had 16 for 64, 3 for 31, and a touchdown. The touchdown is what really saved him because he had almost the same line or very close to it this week with an extra catch, and obviously not as good, So
if you watch this game, except for the one good play, one good play, and you can't take that out. You can't take that away from him because he made the play. He did do that. So he still has that flash every once in a while. It's one every 3 games. You watch the other plays, every other play. You take the name off the back of their jersey, and you tell me that Devontae Booker is not better. Take the name off their jersey.
Wow.
You tell me Devontae Booker is not better. I guarantee you would be fooled if you didn't know who was who. You would think Devontae Booker was better. You would. You would if you didn't know. The only thing keeping Saquon Barkley's value is his name. Saquon Barkley. That's all he's worth is the name Saquon Barkley. He's not worth anything else. It's the only thing keeping his value. He's done.
So tough.
He's done. He can't play at the level he used to play. Now he has maybe Josh Jacobs left? I mean, whatever that is. Josh Jacobs is occasionally against a poor defense is good. The problem is that the Giants offense is so much worse than the Raiders, which is, let's not even go there. That's a whole other topic. The Giants offense is so bad that just being good is not good enough. You have to be great to be good on this team. And he's not great. So, I mean, this week I won't have that. I mean, you cannot play him in your, what is it? Semifinals we're coming up on. Yeah, I have him ranked. I mean, I guess you can
If
play
you
him.
got there, right? Like you probably didn't get there.
I mean, if you had Saquon on your team and you're moving on, I don't know how that happened. But at this point, I have him RB20 for this week. Whew.
ADP, he actually, so in like we have new December ADP, which is good. RB7 going 13th overall. 13th overall in 1 QB startups.
Yeah. That's terrible. That's terrible.
It is terrible.
My value on him is you said 13 overall. Yeah, I have him more than a round later. How does 27 sound? That sounds a lot better. I like that one. 27 is better. Yeah, I have him RB 10, but all the way down at 27. So
Javonte Williams did move up. He moved up to RB 10. But
Javonte Williams? Oh, I have Javonte Williams at RB 3. So
yeah, I'm
good. I'm good with my value, but they can have theirs.
The one
they can bask in the, as I would say, they can bask in the glory of being wrong.
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell up to RB 13. Really,
that's a little much. That's a little much. I'm not that confident.
Like, all right, but who of these are you taking over him? Ezekiel Elliott is right below him.
No. We have a bigger problem there.
Derrick Henry?
We have a bigger problem.
You taking Henry?
No.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire I currently have at 63 overall. So no.
Wow. Aaron Jones?
No. Aaron Jones is about to lose his job.
This one I can see. J.K. Dobbins. I want him over all those guys.
J.K. Dobbins? In 2 weeks, yes.
But he's going to the RB 18. I'm telling you, that's one
ridiculous. But what I mean by that is in 2 weeks, yes. As in when we're not scoring points anymore in 2 weeks, yes.
Ooh. Here's a good one. James Robinson.
I mean, I like James Robinson, but no.
No? Okay.
Nah, not confident enough.
I like the idea of a new coaching staff getting in there and him just.
I don't mind the idea of a new coaching staff. Can you be sure? I mean, yeah, I've been saying that the odds favor that they're going to go to James Robinson as the starter and Travis Etienne is going to be a complimentary back. But what if that doesn't happen? You can't say that it's a guarantee. We know that. We know that there's risk.
Yeah.
There's risk. There's risk. We can't deny that and say it's 100% because it's not. So James Robinson's not going to be valued up there ever, probably.
That is true. Jacob Calloway chimes in. 2 QB league. His QBs are Fields, Lance.
We're giving Jarrett Patterson goal line carries, not Antonio Gibson. I like that.
Jimmy G. And I mean, like, I don't know that you need to carry White on your team at all. I have the 101 and 106 and 111.
White is not a thing.
No.
Draft for value. Draft for value. Trade for need. I feel like I'm gonna sound like a broken record with that at some point, but that's the reality of the situation.
It is. I will say, Bruce Mattson on the DLF channel had a video where he called it a way too early Superflex rookie draft, and he did not take a quarterback number 1 overall. Kind of interesting. Go check that out. But he took a running back. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see kind of how some of that shakes out. I don't think this is a team that needs to necessarily invest in quarterback. Like you said, even if you're thinking about need, you shouldn't be at this point.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ed says, I was so happy to move off Barkley this season when he got the hype. Love his talent, but if you can get someone excited, I say pull that trigger. Somebody's going to be excited.
Yeah, no, someone will be dumb. Happens every year. So, yeah.
Jacob Calloway, bigger question. When do you ever not take the best available in draft? Is drafting for need even a thing in Dynasty? First year playing?
Not a thing if you're playing with me.
As Ed says, draft for value.
Yeah. I'll never tell you to draft for need, probably.
Yep. Now, I have a league where I have way too many wide receivers. My running backs are god-awful, and I cannot get anybody to trade a running back to me.
Sometimes that happens. Just suffer.
I am suffering.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Giddy up. I love these YouTube handles. Howdy. How would you prioritize the following for stash/future? Tyler Johnson, Josh Palmer, Jalen Guyton.
Oh, Palmer, Johnson, then Guyton.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
none of them are close to each other, so nothing to think about.
And Palmer, I guess mostly because he's got some draft capital and has a chance to have his role expand next year. Is that the main thing? Jacob Callaway, Tutu Atwell, and a third for Michael Thomas.
I mean, I hate Michael Thomas, but I'll take him at that price.
I don't hate Michael Thomas this much.
I don't hate him that much. Tutu Atwell's worth nothing.
And especially when you have weeks, months to set a lineup. Yeah, just draft the best players. Exactly. We've made this point.
I mean, our own Dynasty Outhouse says this all the time.
That's right. Add Palmer over the other two for sure. I agree. Spock wants to know if you're starting Sanders with confidence next week against the Giants at home.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, after this week, yeah. You can start him with confidence.
Let's see. Trogdor, evening, gentlemen. He says, Fields looked decent last night. That Bears team is so undisciplined, leading to me putting out a tweet today for the third time asking people who they would prefer in Dynasty, Jalen Hurts or Justin Fields. And the results have swayed back and forth every time I've done it. So I'm going to be curious to see how it goes today.
Yeah, I bet. Well, depending on if Jalen Hurts scores another rushing touchdown, that might change the results of the poll.
Jesse, it looks like Michael is outperforming Hendo. You got some thoughts on the Rams backfield heading into next year? What you got?
Well, I mean, this isn't about next year, but I told people that I would put my fantasy season in the hands of Sony Michel over Darrell Henderson. And that so far that's looking like the right choice. But, so there's only 7 minutes left. I mean, Michel started, got the first 6 carries, has 14 carries to Henderson 6, and they have 2 receptions on 2 targets each. Michel got 23 yards on his, Henderson only 4 on his. So nobody's scored a touchdown. But, I did tell a lot of people to start Van Jefferson over choosing there, and that was wrong on both counts. So not perfect, but yeah, I was pretty insistent that it was going to be Michel this week. And now next week is going to be tough. Next week is going to be tough because Henderson was still involved. We see this sometimes. I think this happened with Gaskin too. When someone just comes off the COVID list, they're limited. They're a little bit limited. They still play, but they're limited. I think this is something we have to learn. Unless you're a Henderson and Gaskin don't fall in the category of this. Unless you're a stud, unless you're a quarterback where you have no choice, or because a quarterback doesn't come out of the game. If you're a running back or a tight end, sometimes it's kind of the same thing. A lot of teams don't really have a backup. But if you're a running back or a wide receiver and you're not a stud, you have to consider coming off the COVID list as could be limited. It's really something to consider when they come off. So, I would be a little bit wary of assuming that Michel is going to be an RB1 next week, because I think it's going to go right back to a 50-50 split next week, even if it wasn't this week, which is kind of what I said would happen. Mm-hmm. But
I
learned my lesson from Gaskin with people coming right off the COVID list, entering the game. They don't practice all week, and that's a problem. Unless you're a stud, if you don't practice, you don't play at the same level. It's one thing for like a Tyreek. For example, Tyreek Hill is on the COVID list this week, right? Tyreek plays. Maybe I'm playing him as wide receiver 7 instead of wide receiver 3. But I'm not. I'm going to play him.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, who else went on Kelsey, same thing. I'm going to play. I'm going to play Kelsey if he comes off the COVID list in time. But, there were other people who are on the COVID list who, I could go another way. Like, Allen Robinson, for example, I'm definitely not playing coming off the COVID list. Like Kendrick Bourne, I'm probably not. I'm not playing him this week.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. What about for 2022 though? I mean, you're in full agreement. Akers comes back and takes his backfield.
Yeah, I mean, 2022, Michel's not going to be there. That's actually an interesting question. I think Michel has earned himself another job. not a starting job, but I think he's earned himself a job. So that's a separate question. They have Henderson and Akers under contract. I think they're going to move forward with those two. Maybe they'll have some sort of veteran backup. It's not going to be someone of Michel's caliber. They're not going to spend the money Michel's going to cost like $4 or $5 million. I just don't think they don't have money to spare the Rams. That's too much of a luxury. I don't think they can afford. So, I think that Akers is going to be the starter. That's what I've thought the whole time. And Henderson has not impressed me. He's been fine, but he's not impressed me.
Ed drafted a lot of Fields over the offseason. He was starting to sweat that a little.
I would still sweat it. I mean, how comfortable are you with Fields, really?
This is part of what makes the question about Fields and Hurts so difficult, I think, because Fields is the better prospect.
True.
But Hurts has now done it in fantasy, and we haven't seen it from Fields.
And Hurts has won a couple of games.
Yeah.
I mean, more than Fields.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs time. Hopefully they can bring in a better coaching staff next year.
They're not going to have Nagy.
What if they do?
No.
What if he's back?
He's not back. He's not back.
I think this is this a Brashad Perryman comment?
Yeah, but I don't know it's in reference to.
He's coming off the COVID list. Maybe it's kind of in reference to would you be playing him?
I've discussed that, but you can't trust him, right? I mean, I guess you can play him, but you can't trust him.
Ed says, I say you get those diamond hands and hold Barkley at this point until he looks healthy and get some hype. Act excited yourself about him. Yeah, I think this is a good way to play it. I'm with Ed on this. This is like the worst time probably ever since he came in the league to sell Barkley.
I wouldn't still have him.
Right. BCS, I held my Dogecoin. Is that how you say it? Dogecoin?
Doge? Yeah. Doge.
Can't do the same with Saquon. No, hang on. He's coming back. I'm saying people are going to get so hyped because think about all the running backs I just named. There's so many on there that are ugly. Like, he's going to get some hype in the offseason.
I mean,
we're going to get videos of his quads. We're going to get video of him doing all kind of fun workouts.
But I don't care.
You don't care, but people are going to care, and his value, his draft capital is going to go up.
Are people really going to make the same stupid mistake for the fourth time in a row? Like,
yes, of course.
But how dumb are people really?
So dumb. It's going to happen. You know it is. He's going up to RB7 right now in December's ADP.
But that's so stupid. Why is he RB7?
I don't know.
What has he done since 2018 to earn being RB7? Nothing. The answer to that question.
People are going to do it. Richard Davis, what type of upgrade at running back would you be trying to acquire for next year with ETN and Josh Jacobs? And what do you think it would take to upgrade either or both of those guys? Interesting question.
I mean, how do you even sell ETN? Well, I guess you can sell him because his ADP value is higher than my value. So you might be able to sell him. With Jacobs, what are you gonna get? Like nobody wants Jacobs.
Let's do this a little bit individually. So I just pulled up the trade finder for Travis Etienne. The trade finder is on dynastyleaguefootball.com. If you have a premium membership, you should go check it out. And it really is a great tool, I think. So, okay, we'll start with Travis Etienne. I want to break it up a little bit and let's just talk about this value it a little bit. Travis Etienne was traded for Brandon Cooks and Jamal Williams.
I'll take Etienne.
I'm guessing these are like playoff teams that just sort of want somebody that they think can help them win right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
in a Superflex league, Travis Etienne and Gabe Davis for Zach Wilson.
I'll still take Zach Wilson.
Travis Etienne for Hunter Renfrow and 2022 seconds.
Renfrow in the seconds.
Here we go. Travis Etienne and J.K. Dobbins for Alvin Kamara.
I'll probably take Etienne and Dobbins.
That one's kind of tough. Yeah.
Close, though.
Yeah. Then we get into some Travis Etienne and a first-round pick for Antonio Gibson.
I don't really want to pay that for Gibson, but I guess it's fine.
All right, now let's pull up Josh Jacobs, who is a month older than Najee Harris, but feels
I know. Tell me something I don't know.
Josh Jacobs for Miles Sanders in a second.
Sanders in a second.
Josh Jacobs. Oh, that's too complicated. Okay, wait. Josh Jacobs for a 2022 second and a 2023 first.
Picks.
So first and a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just Jacobs is just a guy. I mean, he's not just a guy, but it's like if Jacobs weren't a first round pick, Jacobs wouldn't have much value. That's what's giving him value.
Interesting.
Also, Jalen Hurts just made one of the best throws I've seen all year.
Yeah, if you were looking for a touchdown from Greg Ward, congratulations.
Yeah, nobody was, but Jalen Reagor made a good play on this drive. So one good play he's ever made.
I like it. Here, it's the comeback.
He has more receiving yards than Devonta Smith today.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs, I feel like is going to be a little too undervalued.
Maybe.
Statistically, what's the difference between him and Barkley right now?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. The name. That's it.
Ed, you got to move him when he is healthy, but don't give him up right now.
The difference is that Jacobs has actually participated in more games over the last 3 seasons. That's the difference.
It's true.
Is that Jacobs has actually been available for your team more than Barkley. That's the difference if you really want to know.
Ed says he will build some hype this offseason.
He will. Hearing about it.
He will. It's going to happen. Okay, yeah. Jacob Callaway. I like the way Tyler breaks things down. So do we. That's why we like this show. Barkley has got Josh Jacobs left, ? Never considered thinking about things like that.
I appreciate that. I guess.
AG. Saw Saquon rip off a big run.
This is it right here. This is it.
Where he showed a lot of juice Sunday. It took me a full 10 seconds to realize it was Booker and not Barkley.
That's right.
That is, if that doesn't hit right at the heart of it, right?
We'll start with B.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand the confusion. Was it 28 and 26?
Mm-hmm.
So I can see how you would be a little confused there. Man.
Not great.
Not good. Not good.
Not great.
Not good enough.
All right. Let's go. Yeah. Elijah Mitchell can't stay on the field. Gosh, it does seem that way right now.
I'm not there on just giving him that label.
Yeah, I'm not either. And partially, yeah. He's a gosh, I don't even know how the best to say this. There's been some bad luck involved. I don't know that it's not like nagging hamstring injuries, which can sometimes be like problematic and seem to come up, tightly wound athletes, things like that.
If there's one thing I'm good at, I think I've actually been pretty good at telling you who's really injury prone and who's not.
Mm-hmm. Like
Saquon Barkley is injury prone. Dalvin Cook, same thing.
AJ Brown?
Absolutely.
Whereas
like Elijah Mitchell, or like the big one is Deontay Johnson is not injury prone. Deontay Johnson has been unlucky. There have been a bunch of things, a bunch of injuries here and there. But Deontay Johnson is nothing actually wrong with him. Whereas like some of these people seem to actually get hurt more. I have not yet put Elijah Mitchell really into that category. I don't see him that way yet.
Man, I hate that a site that I'm looking at for some rankings has not updated the leaderboard yet. I got to go find it a different way. Ridley Truther, yo boys, rebuilding Superflex PPR 12 team, just tore the squad apart. Got DK, St. Brown, Judy, Lamar, and a bunch of picks. Wants to know if you just trade seconds late and early for Christian Kirk or hold until the rookie draft.
You're rebuilding. I'm not doing this. I mean, you can, but I'm not rushing to trade second. I'm not rushing to trade picks for Christian Kirk. It's fine, but
me neither, because there is some
a safer investment.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not doing it.
And there's some uncertainty about, like, Christian Kirk's never going to be worth a first round pick, right? So
probably never. No, Christian Kirk's never going to be worth a first round pick. So why would you ever pay this for him then? Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to look at it.
And you kind of don't know, like, what is he going to, like, at this point, are you going to, he could go anywhere. He's a free agent. There's too much unknown.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's ever going to have much value. He's someone he's not someone I'm acquiring or picking to trade. He's someone I'm acquiring or picking to play. He's been usable this year.
From Nicholas, tell me where this goes wrong. He says, trying to pick up Zach Moss.
Well, we already have a problem. We have a problem. Why are we doing that? Why are we picking up Zach Moss? That one we don't need to do. That one, I think not.
But to his point, I guess if I'm looking at it, I guess you'd prefer to have him over Ricky Seals-Jones or Boston Scott? Maybe?
I'm not sure about that. I guess so. But I don't really want Zach Moss. Let me see. Zach Moss.
You're not going to trade him. It's not like there's any... nobody's trading
releasing Zach Moss. I'd rather have... I have, let's see. I have Mark Ingram ranked ahead of Zach Moss. Can I interest you in Quez Watkins? I have him ahead of Zach Moss.
Oh, my. What about Greg Ward, who just scored his touchdown?
No, Greg Ward, I don't. But yeah, I have Zach Moss at 188 overall in one QB. Not even Superflex.
188 overall.
Yeah, I have Adam Troutman ahead of him.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, not good.
Troutman.
Not good. No, Devin Singletary. Now, Devin Singletary is a big dynasty sell.
Ooh.
But he is the best of that crew, of those three.
But if there's one team that's going to have a new running back next year, it's the Buffalo Bills. There's no way they go into the season with this crop of running backs.
No, absolutely not. I think that what's going to happen is that Zach Moss is going to become this year's Matt Breida in that he plays occasionally when they need extra running backs. And then Singletary is probably going to be the backup. And I think they're going to bring in someone to be the starter.
Sony Michel?
That's not good enough. I was more thinking Melvin Gordon.
I know I've heard the GM there talk about wanting to bring in a home run threat. So I don't know. Maybe they can start thinking about
Melvin Gordon.
No, they start thinking about some speed, maybe of some sort. I don't know.
I don't buy it though. Well, okay, I get it because Singletary is reliable and slow. He's slow, and I think we all see that he's slow. He doesn't have the breakaway speed. If he gets past the defense, they'll catch him. He's not gonna house it. So I get it. And Singletary also, if you give Singletary 20 carries a week every week, he's going to wear down. He cannot handle 20 carries a week. He might think he can, but he can do it for one game at a time, but that's not where he is. So I get it. But, maybe Melvin Gordon would be interesting, even if it's not what they've said. I could see, Sony Michel, I guess, would make some sense. But that feels like kind of meh. That doesn't feel like a big enough addition.
Yeah, it doesn't. I agree. Maybe somebody like, I don't know, a Duke Johnson who's a stud all of a sudden.
No. No, not Duke Johnson.
Nicholas says, keep one, cut two.
Why are we even answering this? What is this question?
Byron Pringle, Jermichael Hasty, or Keyshawn Vaughn?
Keep Keyshawn Vaughn, I guess.
Yeah, why not? I guess.
Why not? He's the backup right now, unless it's Le'Veon Bell, which it could be.
Maybe I agree with Ed actually, but
no, not Hasty. No, not Hasty.
No, but Keyshawn Vaughn is just
Hasty is a waste of time. No,
your team might do worse with.
No, Hasty is literally a waste of time. At least Vaughn played, Hasty, they use the fullback and they use a wide receiver at running back instead of him. So
That's
now
true.
not Hasty. Hasty is completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
You can get rid of him. Trash.
Really truth or as Kupp crossed over to a first round startup, or is it too late because of his age? Second round for Superflex. Can see him taking over Diggs ADP, maybe Adams.
He's in my first round. So yes.
Oh, really? In one QB?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, because who would you really rather have, right? I mean, Christian McCaffrey is currently in the first round for some people, but who would you really rather have? Who's more reliable? I mean, Cooper Kupp has had a MVP type season, right? I mean, you cannot deny. Yeah, maybe if Christian McCaffrey had played every game, but I don't think we can ever rely on that again. And, who do you think has more years left of productivity in their career? Cooper Kupp or Christian McCaffrey? Probably Cooper Kupp. They're similar in age on the age curve. They're 3 years apart, a running back and a wide receiver. That puts them in a similar stage on the age curve. But I would bet that in 3 years, Cooper Kupp is still fantasy relevant and Christian McCaffrey is not. So, maybe 4 years, say. 4 years, I think Cooper Kupp's still in the league. And I think Christian McCaffrey isn't. So, if you look at it that way, then the first round ADP seems reasonable. Now, I'm probably not taking him there because it's not really my style. I've noticed that I dislike the value of almost everyone in from the mid first to like the early third. I dislike that value. I'd rather either take right at the top or trade down for a lot of picks in the third, fourth, and fifth, late third, fourth, and fifth. So I'd want to do one of those two things. I don't really like the value of players in that range, but I'm fine spending the pick on Cooper Kupp. I'd rather spend it on him over Adams or certainly Diggs. Diggs, I don't want at all.
I'm so excited to break down some, like with the ages and some of the different things. There's some fascinating things this off season that we're going to see. I'm with you. Like some of this
Cooper
is going to move.
Is my dynasty wide receiver 6.
I think it was All In Kid, Jake Seeley, who asked a question on that. But I can't remember exactly who it was.
Jake is great.
Who asked, when's the last time we saw somebody finish as the unequivocal number one wide receiver in a season and not get taken as the wide receiver 1 in dynasty startups the next season? It's been a while.
Davante Adams. I mean, he wasn't really taken as a wide receiver 1 this offseason just because of the age. It's too old.
I think a lot of people did still, though.
Yeah, but they were wrong. They could have done it, but they could have done it, but smart people were not doing that.
Sure, but
smart people were taking Justin Jefferson instead. And imagine now if in a startup this offseason you took Davante Adams over Justin Jefferson. How do you feel? How do you feel now?
That is 100% correct.
Terrible,
in my opinion.
And I warned you then. And I hope you listened.
Interesting. Yeah.
I hope you listened because there was literally no way I could be wrong. There was no way I could be wrong because Davante Adams was going to age out of the value anyway. So even if I was wrong, I'd still be right. That's the thing about that prediction is I literally can't be wrong. So it's one thing to make a prediction, but it's one thing to make a prediction about statistics. You can be wrong about that, but about value, telling you that Davante Adams is going to decline in value as he goes from age 28 to age 29 is a good bet. And yes, you could hear what I'm saying. Well, the same thing is true with Cooper Kupp this year. Well, I'm not suggesting to take him at the wide receiver 1. I'm suggesting to take him at wide receiver 6, which coincidentally is where I had Davante Adams last year. It was 5 or 6. So
really interestingly, he as of March, Adams was still the wide receiver 1. So that might be about the time we start seeing some of the changes now as we look forward to next season.
People learn their lesson, I think, with this personally.
Yeah. Be curious to see how that plays out with some different assets this year.
Let me say one other thing about what's going on right now. If you bought into Dallas Goedert, you are about to get a big payoff, I think. At this point, if you told me you'd rather have Dallas Goedert than Darren Waller in Dynasty, fine with that. Really? I mean, why not?
He's made some good-looking plays here today before we...
It's not about that. It's about...
He had one of the worst luck.
There were bad plays, too, but everyone makes bad plays. If I got on Travis Kelce for some of the plays he's made, bad drops this season, a lot of bad plays. And,
I was looking for an opportunity to talk about him having that ball hit off his heel. I'd never seen that before in that way.
The good news about Goddard and Kelsey, at least they're participating in games right now. Where is Darren Waller? Where is he? Where is he? What's wrong with him?
He's hanging out with Michael Thomas somewhere.
No, but do you know what's wrong with can you tell me actually why Darren Waller is not playing? Do you know the answer to that question? Whenever you don't know why someone is not playing, you don't know why. That's very bad. If you just use that as a rule of thumb, if you don't really know why, okay, it's like Elijah Mitchell, his knee hurts. We know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Darren Waller, well, it was the MCL, then it was the IT band, which, by the way, does not take 5 weeks to heal. Then it was another thing, and now we just hear nothing. So that tells me that there's a mysterious problem. I don't like that. I don't want to hear about a mysterious problem. If someone's out, I want to know why. If you don't know why, like with Calvin Ridley is the most extreme example where we have no idea why, I don't want that player, because whenever you don't know something, there's always the possibility that it's really bad and you don't know it. So that's always a rule of thumb. The less you know about the injury, the more you want to downgrade.
Now, last Thursday, he was working out with the athletic trainers off to the side on a Thursday practice. Still rehabbing.
But did he play in the game?
Still rehabbing from his knee. So I guess I wanted to look up and see, like, is he just missing from the team? But no, at least he is with the team. So that.
Well, Daniel Jones was a limited participant in practice this week, and was he anywhere near playing? I don't think so. No. Chris Carson practiced on IR. Right, but then he practiced. He had limited practices this week, but then he was put on IR. Chris Carson, there were multiple times he had limited practice. They were trying to put him back in practice. He was working off to the side with the trainer, and then boom, injured reserve. So, like, the fact that he's working on the side doesn't tell me anything about how healthy he is.
No,
doesn't tell you anything.
Rob says 1 QB league. I have the 104, 105, 106 early bet. Seems there will be a good wide receiver running back asset available in the top.
Way too early to talk about that. I don't know who's going to be at what pick at this point. This is too speculative.
Yeah, you're thinking right about, like, you don't want to be looking at a quarterback here in a 1 QB league. I think that's
correct. Yeah.
My takeaway from some of the things that I've watched is that there's going to be a good bit of wide receivers. Maybe less running backs. So
it's more just like you're doing the right thing and thinking about it. But when it comes to me, it's like you're not looking at the right person if you want a detailed breakdown of the class at this point. Because
not yet.
Okay, but the other thing is, I do not do rookie content for the sake of doing rookie content. That isn't me. I'm not a rookie analyst. I'm not a Devy analyst. I don't do it for the sake of content. So right now, that content does not actually help you unless you're in a Devy league, which, again, I'm not a Devy analyst. So that content doesn't help you. It doesn't help you when you're dynasty leagues now. So I'm not going to do that because that content is more for people who are interested. They have extra interest in learning about rookies. It'll help them learn. You know, they find it fun, that kind of stuff. And I actually think there's a great market for that content. But for me, to go somewhere where I'm not an expert to make content just for entertainment, I'm not going to be able to do that because I have to do like start sit. I have to answer thousands of questions and get my Twitter account turned off every week for answering too many of them. So I just don't have time for that. You'll see me start doing actionable rookie content realistically, probably in you're going to get 3 months of me passing on these questions. I mean, you're probably going to see me really ready in mid to late March. Really, to be honest with you.
It'll be in the next couple of weeks. I'll start looking through some of these guys and start doing some of the things I like to do. But it'll be.
Yeah, I definitely will be later than you.
Until we get to March, April, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But I mean, even after the draft, there's a whole other thing where it's like, okay, now let's put them in context of their new teams. And then that's when a lot of
I'm good at that. I'm good at that. Yeah. I don't have a problem with
that. Here's Ed's list. I like it, Ed. I don't have a current ranking for any of these. So Nicholas says, I heard Fields is top 5 last 3 weeks.
I don't know what that means.
Jason says, Tyler, what's your YouTube channel? You've mentioned it before, but I have never been able to find it.
I'll post the link.
Also, if you go back to last week's show, Tyler commented underneath there, and that's one way that you can find it as well, is you can click on his name from his YouTube channel.
True.
Ed says, I'm feeling way better about Fields than I was a month ago.
I would be, I guess. Until they fire Nagy, I'm not going to feel that great, but I think they will. I'm pretty sure they will.
Yeah. I feel like there's pretty good reason to feel pretty good about Jalen Hurts right now, too. I mean, he's like got him in contention for playoffs. This is like best case scenario if you wanted Jalen Hurts.
This game was pretty much win or go home for both teams, both 6 and 7. This was win or go home. So.
Same thing here. I don't know about you guys, but there was at least 3 times I thought Booker was Barkley. Not a great thing.
Not good.
And I always feel better when Ed's with me on something. So with you on the Barkley thing, yeah. Never underestimate the predictability of stupid. Exactly. I think it's something you can take advantage of.
True.
Giddy Up says, how are y'all valuing Mark Andrews relative to George Kittle, Kelsey, Waller, Pitts, Hawk? Seems like he's outperforming his valuation. Is that a sell high? We've talked about him a good bit. I love Mark Andrews.
Andrews is not a sell high. Andrews is a hold.
This is who he is.
Yeah. I would still order those players. Pitts first, Andrews second, Kittle third, Kelsey fourth, Hawk fifth, and Waller last.
Interesting. Is it Kelsey? Is it just, I mean, obviously at this point it's his age.
Yeah.
People don't, so Kelsey's 4 years older than Kittle. Kittle is 3 years older than Andrews.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrews is 25 years old. He's only a year older than Hawkinson, and he's done a heck of a lot more than Hawk has.
Well, that's why they're in that order.
Yeah. I definitely, I'm 100% with you. I'm backing up like, yeah, don't sell high on Mark Andrews. And, there's no reason he, in my opinion, like his ADP is tight end 5 here. I think he has been this year, and there's no reason to think that he's not going to be different. The only thing that could happen to him is with Gus Edwards and Dobbins back. You've mentioned before, the Ravens start running the ball a lot more. That it's possible that could hurt him.
I'm not
His
too
target
worried
would go
about
down.
that.
Target numbers would go down.
I'm not too worried about that, actually.
But I think he's the real deal. Pitts, yeah, then Andrews, Kittle. Yeah, I think he's right there. I think he's the one you're talking about in that top tier that made the leap this year. Yeah, Ed, if I can move Andrews really high, I would. I don't think so. I think once somebody proves they can be a difference maker at the position, I want to hang on to them because tight end is something you want to have a difference maker.
Yeah.
Sean says I traded Jacobs for 2022 late first, 2023 first, and other stuff in a 14-team 1 QB league. Absolutely, this is a great deal.
Yeah, he's worth nowhere near that.
2 first, second, and third.
Yeah, even a 14-teamer where the picks are a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah, this gives you some flexibility for what you can do with these picks. And just because you trade for picks doesn't mean you have to utilize the picks, by the way.
Yeah.
Adam says, what is the Ask DLF anniversary and how are we going to celebrate? Great question. I don't know the date of the first show. I actually have it here somewhere. I can find out.
Yeah, we can find that out for you.
But yeah, Tyler, what are we going to do to celebrate once we get to that point?
Is the first show.
June 15th?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll celebrate somehow.
No, May 25th was our first show.
May 25th?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
May 25th.
Take your word for it then.
Yeah. What are we going to do? We got to do something. Tacos. We have to have tacos. I'll have tacos. You have waffles.
Sure.
Okay. All right. We got to do something. I don't know. Ed says, but really high. Yeah. Talking about, well, you could be talking about anything right here, Ed.
Well, I mean, yeah, that wasn't my first, not what I had in mind, but sure.
Don't forget to bring a towel, Ed. He will appreciate that. Ed says, is Mitchell an injury prone? is Mitchell an injury prone guy? Hate to label him by that way. We've talked about that.
I'm saying
bit.
no.
Yeah. Spock says pick 4 to start in order. Oh, you know what? Let me ask you. Hang on. Let me ask you about this. So not Mitchell, but are we starting to worry about that with Kadarius Toney?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
He's played 2 games out of 14? Yeah.
He looks so electric.
I know, but I don't care.
Ugh. Okay, Spock 498. Pick 4 to start in order. AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, Darnell Mooney, Christian Kirk, Brandon Cooks.
All right, in order. Cooks, Waddle, Brown, assuming he plays. And then we'll go to, let's see, who else is there? Kirk, Mooney, Kirk as the last one. Leave Mooney off.
Is Jalen Waddle playing this week?
Yes, he was already activated.
That's
I have Cooks at 13, Waddle at 14, Brown at 16, Kirk at 22, and Mooney at 30.
It appears as though we have the games going final. So let's shoot out those links again. Just to let everybody know that we are.
And we learned our lesson. Next time we have games, we're starting the show at if this ever happens again, it might never happen again.
Hopefully never.
Hopefully never, but we'll just start the show at 10. 9 your time, 10 mine.
Yeah.
I think you agree with that.
I'll jump in a couple of questions here if you'll maybe shoot out a link and just let's get some folks in here to.
I put the link out again.
Ridley Truther makes sense on Kirk. Guy offered it, felt wrong, but wasn't sure why. Good. It's kind of practical advice we can help you with here, Ridley Truther.
You know what the one thing I'm just happiest about everything is that Sony Michel actually was the lead back, and I got that one right because I was so insistent. I told people like, blame me. You can, if it's wrong, you can blame me. You can blame it on me. Now that would get them blocked, but they don't know that. But you know, if they actually did that, but I was like, I'm confident in this prediction, so I'm glad I was right. And hopefully some people listened and it helped. A couple people definitely said, no, I'm not going to listen. And I'm going to go another way, go with Henderson. Part of me wants to feel like I hope that they won their fantasy matchups anyway. Yeah, but that's not how I feel. I hope they lost. I hope they lost and they would have won if they'd gone with Michelle. Just cause.
Rashad Penny, 11 carries, 39 yards, did nothing.
Man. Sorry to anyone I said to start Penny.
Not great.
I said to start Penny over Sanders. That's gonna be a bad one.
Cooper Kupp, though, man, 9 catches, 136 yards.
I told everyone to start Cooper Kupp. So I don't think I got any questions about Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Every week, you know, I get one person who asks, do I start Jonathan Taylor? Oh, how about Cooper Kupp this week? Is Cooper Kupp a good start this week?
You nailed that one then, if you got that.
Yeah, that one I think I got right. Yeah, I had Cooper Kupp at wide receiver 1 for the week. So I think I was, maybe he wasn't there, but who was better? Maybe I got that one right.
Love it. Yeah, MG. Oh, here we go. Jesse Riddle, Melvin Gordon plus a 3rd round pick.
No, they're not going to add multiple running backs. I mean, Zach Moss is, unless they're going to release Zach Moss, which I guess is possible.
Plus a 3rd round rookie.
No, they're not going to spend another 3rd round pick and sign Melvin Gordon. It's going to be or.
Right. Yeah. That's saying they're a free agent. Yeah. But
no, they believe in Devin. Yeah, they believe in Devin Singletary to command a good portion of their backfield. They're looking for one more player.
Mm-hmm. Hasty,
I agree. Hasty is complete garbage.
Sometimes you have to look at the end of your dynasty.
He might be better than Sermon, though. Honestly, I'm not sure.
I like your little smirk when you.
But that's okay. It's okay. The film people say that Sermon looks really good on the 3 carries he's had this year. That's what they say. They say that he looks great. That he will. It's all Mitchell is overrated. He sucks. He's not the guy. He just takes easy holes. Well, Sermon had 1 carry, got a concussion on it, and fumbled. I mean, it is what it is.
Definitely rough right there. Nicholas says about his question, it's a deep roster, got 25 players in a 12-team league. 2 people clicked interested on Zach Moss on ESPN. So I was
It's 2 more people than should have been interested.
Moss to trade next year. I don't think you're going to ever trade Zach Moss.
No. Zach Moss is a waste of time.
Maybe you could trade him for someone you feel better about dropping.
Yeah.
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 How about that? I'll take that. Vaughn's so bad they're bringing in Lev Bell.
Vaughn is not good, but the other reason they're bringing in Bell is because Gio Bernard is also hurt, so they really don't have anyone else.
We call this the Tyson Williams treatment.
Yeah.
Ryan Pros just made the finals in a league where I have.
You make the finals, and then you have Bijan coming later.
Yeah. And he's over the moon
that
right
must
now.
feel. You know?
Yeah, this is a good thing, no doubt. Yeah, well done, Ryan. Ryan, you dug. That's marvelous. I love it. Oh, good question from Jacob. Let's talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. What do you think?
Okay, look. What do you think I think of Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I think you think that we need to sell him because he has 4th-round draft capital.
No?
No?
I don't think so. I disagree.
Okay.
No, I disagree. I think that I believe.
I believe.
I think we have something here. Yeah, I do. I think we have something here.
I think Amon-Ra Julian Hiru J. St. Brown is one of my favorite players in the NFL. If you've never looked into his family, you need to do so.
No, I know the story of his family. They asked all the brothers who the best receiver was, and they all said Amon-Ra.
I want a 10-part Netflix documentary interviewing everyone that's ever known the family or lived with the family or seen the family.
I know the story.
Huh?
I know the story.
Like the dad, former Mr. Universe, the mom only spoke to her kids in German. They all took the SATs in 3 different languages. They ate red meat for breakfast when they were kids, like 5 years old.
Yeah, no, but ask me more about Amon-Ra. Is he worth the first? Probably not. Because I don't pay first like this. Ever.
He is incredibly smart. I think Jarvis Landry is a comp that I heard, and I like that comp. I think it's a good comp for him. Jarvis Landry was a very good fantasy asset. Very good. He was a good fantasy asset, productive for us.
I just don't feel like, I don't know. I get why you would say that, but I don't feel like they're really the same.
Work slot, like but can run those deeper kind of routes. He's not going. He's not a super athlete.
No, I get it.
Ed getting his kudos. What are your thoughts on Kyle Pitts from Nathan?
He's still good. Is that good enough, or do we need more?
When do you think his ADP would take a hit? Do you think there's a chance?
No, never.
Like if we
never,
get in 2022 and he's still got Matt Ryan and nobody else.
Nah, I get it, but I think he's good. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, really look, right? I mean, if I told you we're through, let's say 14 games played, 847 yards, 58 receptions. Is that really bad? Is that bad? The reason people are complaining is because he has 1 touchdown. If he had 5 touchdowns instead of 1, we wouldn't be hearing about it. What does that scream to you? A lot of 95 targets and 1 touchdown, 58 receptions, 1 measly touchdown. Yeah. What does that scream?
Good point.
That screams touchdown regression, and that screams dynasty buy. 847 yards and 1 touchdown. Mm-hmm. That will not continue. That is not possible. It will not continue that a player continues to have that many yards, that many targets, and that many receptions and fails to get into the end zone. Now is your time to buy Kyle Pitts. Do it now. Don't wait. Trust me. When the articles start coming out in the offseason, people are going to say the same thing. And they're going to dress it up, and it's going to be like it's some fancy conclusion that they reach. It's not really that fancy. It's actually really simple. I just explained it to you in, 2 sentences. You don't need the 1,500 word article. I'll write it anyway because I want to give details. But, really actionable wise, you don't need the 1,500 word article.
Yes. And
you
the thing
need to
is,
buy Kyle Pitts now before the article comes out, because when the article comes out, and I guarantee you I'll write it, then everyone will know.
Yeah.
But don't wait that long. You don't want to wait. Those who move first win. It's the same. It's always the same thing in Dynasty. Those who buy in first win. Those who rebuild first win. Those who get their contending pieces first win. If you move first, you have a big advantage over those who move later. So don't delay. Delay and waiting, that's how you lose. That never works. So you want to take advantage of these opportunities while they exist. Don't have patience. That's a lot of people give that advice. That's terrible advice. You always want to be moving. You always want to be taking advantage. And here is an opportunity to get a cornerstone dynasty asset at a low price that may not come around again.
And the thing about him, so he's fourth among all tight ends and targets, first of all.
So then why are people saying it's been bad?
Yeah.
I don't see what the issue is.
His receptions on those have been poor, but he's also getting a ton of attention right now. Who's his quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, really, considering and we might have to do the analysis that we did with Jerry Jeudy on the uncatchable balls last year, leading league in uncatchable balls, him and AJ Green. Notice how all of a sudden AJ Green actually had some gas left in the tank. It's like Kyle Pitts. I mean, how many of these passes are uncatchable?
So here's one of the things about Kyle Pitts. The reason why the one touchdown, and you might say like, oh gosh, well maybe he's not going to be a red zone guy. No, in college, 31 targets in the red zone, he caught all of them. So there's no reason he can't be successful. And I think the Falcons and all will figure it out. And Matt Ryan is not going to be his quarterback forever.
I mean, that we know, but I would just say that I think he'll get it together.
Ed's trying to buy into Pitts. Yeah.
I don't think
people who have him are trading him, but
I think people see what I'm saying. I don't think that people are fooled here.
Ryan says, I hope his team gets better, Nathan, but the talent is not the problem. Definitely not. Nicholas, he heard that Derek Carr and Darren Waller don't talk. Their relationship's not there. Maybe they need to go to breakfast more often.
Okay, I have heard, and this is unconfirmed, so don't quote me on this, but I have heard whispers, and this is information you can publicly find. I just don't remember where I heard it. That there are some issues with Darren Waller and the Raiders management. I don't know who the issue was with. I don't know if it was with Gruden. I don't know if it's with the interim head coach. I don't know if it's with the general manager. I don't know if it's with Carr. But there were some rumors over the summer that Waller was unhappy. There are, and it just doesn't look like he's really been any good this year. So I'm not sure if we know exactly what the problem is, but I think there's some sort of issue. So this is possible. But again, I don't think we have any confirmation. But it's enough for me to devalue him in Dynasty. Waller's someone I won't touch. Not at his price. I'll either pay up for Kittle or Andrews, or I'll wait for Goddard at this point. Well, at this point, you're not going to wait for Goddard. But, you see what I'm saying.
Yep. Ed lives near Gainesville. Went to see Pitts quite a few times at UF. I'm a little biased, but he's going to be a stud. I think
he's 21 years old.
Gainesville, I was able to see that too.
He's 21 years old. Give him a break. I mean, you're asking him to carry an entire offense as the only legitimate receiving weapon, like on a terrible offense. What do you expect?
Ryan, I think he was AG 2014 league, 2 of each player. This copy leagues, I don't really love those. Damian Scott just showing y'all some love. Are awesome. What's up, Damian?
Damian is really awesome. People should at Mad Scientist FF should give him a follow. A lot of people follow me. It's 16,850 something. Nobody's counting. But I think other people like Cal and Damian should have more of a following than they do. They just are not as relentless about promoting themselves. And I don't have any shame in that. But, sometimes I have to give a little bit of that promotional energy I spend on myself. on some of these other people who are also great, but who I feel like don't want to.
Go follow Damien. Yeah, I agree.
Go follow Damien.
Jacob Callaway, Hopkins, Amon-Ra, DJ Dallas, Salvin Ahmed.
All right. Whatever. Dallas, Ahmed, not relevant. Nwangu is nice, but whatever. It's really Hopkins and Amon-Ra for these picks. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the picks here. I would rather have a 2022 random first over Hopkins at this point. 30-year-old Hopkins in the offseason is not going to be worth a first in Superflex anymore. And I'd rather have a 23 first over Amon-Ra, and then I'd rather have the 24 first over the rest of this garbage. So I'll take the picks.
If you can get 3 first-round picks for this, Jacob, you are killing it.
Yeah, it's just Hopkins is at the point now where it's like the dynasty value is never coming back. It's just what does he have left?
Yep. Ryan Andrews, the beast, says Jesse.
Absolutely. He's been a difference maker, and I warned people. I warned people that this offense, and this isn't a victory lap, really. It's more just I warned people this offense cannot support Andrews, Brown, and Bateman. And you know what? It can't. It can't. It cannot do that. And Andrews is going to eat. He's the man. And then, for Brown or Bateman to remember when it was just Andrews and Brown, it was fine. There was enough room for both of them to succeed. But if you're not going to be able to feed Andrews, Brown, and Bateman. Brown and Bateman are going to be wildly inconsistent, and they prefer Brown. So I don't want either Brown or Bateman at this point. I'd almost prefer Brown because he's closer to leaving.
Nicholas says, who would you trade Waller for if you want to get a tight end back? Keep in mind, I traded Knox for Waller, so I probably can't get I'd rather have Waller than Knox. But a young tight end. I
would still rather have Waller than Knox. I just don't believe in Knox like I do in Goddard. There's not that
like Fant or Pitts. I mean, like not.
Well, I don't want. I don't want Noah Cant.
Yeah.
Or Noah Fart. Or Noah Failure. I don't want him. I mean, he detracts. Have I done the Albert O? There's words and metaphors I can't use that I did on my show, but basically Albert O kind of takes the whole offense, does like a little whatever, and he kind of makes everyone unstartable, and you can't start Albert O either. So no, including Noah Cant. I don't want that. You can't get Pitts. So I don't know. I mean, if you could trade Waller for Goddard at this point, I would consider it. But
I wonder if an investment at this point in trading Waller, could you get Hawkinson plus?
You could try. That would be another thing I might try.
Because that to me, like as Amon-Ra is coming on, as
I'd rather have Hawk straight up.
Me too. As the weapons, I think, start to get a little bit better in Detroit, that's going to mean better things for Hawk, in my opinion.
I just have no use for Waller. None. If I want someone old, I'll prefer Kelsey because at least he's producing something. If I want someone of Waller's age, I could get Kittle. I'll just pay up for Kittle and ignore Waller completely. And if I want, and I don't tend to like older guys anyway, so I usually prefer Andrews if I'm paying up, or Hawkinson if I'm paying down, or now Goddard if I'm paying down a little bit more. So I just have no use for Darren Waller. He's entered the group that Dalvin Cook was in before him. Christian McCaffrey is probably in now. Players who exist, but I will never, ever, it's like they don't exist to me. So Darren Waller doesn't exist to me. I have zero use for him on a dynasty team. It's like I cannot imagine a scenario where I would ever acquire him. I don't want him, period.
I agree.
But with that said, I don't want Noah Cant either. Him, I don't want. Alberto if Alberto could actually catch the ball a little bit better, he would be a better player than Noah Fant.
An interesting prerequisite for producing fantasy points.
Well, he does have to work on that. He has a problem there. He needs to catch the ball a little better.
Damien had so much faith in Hawk coming into the season. The mad scientist says,
yeah. I wouldn't give up on Hawk just yet, but this season was disappointing. There's no way to slice it and say it was good. That would be lying. The truth is that the season was disappointing.
a lot of people were on your side, mad scientist, and maybe one of my most controversial,
myself included.
Yeah, one of my most controversial opinions and posts of the offseason had to do with Hawk not being a difference maker at tight end. But I think his dynasty value is different. I would just didn't like his ADP relative to this season.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah.
In redraft, I don't think I was going anywhere near TJ Hawkinson.
Still top
in redraft,
five.
I wanted a lot of Kittle and Waller.
I don't know top 5.
Who?
Maybe 6. Pitts, Kelsey.
No, to me, it's pretty clear. I mean, I have.
Yeah, maybe he's right there.
I have Pitts 1, Andrews 2, Kittle 3, and then Kelsey is a big step down at 4, Hawk at 5, and Waller 6. Although honestly, like I really look at it and it's like, why is Darren Waller above Dallas Goedert? I'm honestly not sure. Goddard, I think it's a top 7 now, because after Goddard, it gets really ugly really fast.
Jesse says Zach Moss is so bad.
Clearly,
he is. He is so bad. BJ Lee, not too sure how my rookie drafting works. Got 3rd to last in regular season and just destroyed my first round matchup in the toilet bowl. Do I still get the 3rd pick, or how's it usually work? It depends on the league.
It usually is based on regular season only, but it could be based on potential points. It could be. This is league dependent. There's so many different ways to do it.
League dependent. Some leagues like to have the little tournament mean something at the end. Not always, but some leagues do have that in there. So
usually it's a bonus pick, though. It doesn't affect the regular order. Trade Addicts, for example, the 201 pick is given to the toilet bowl, but it doesn't affect the order of the first round picks.
It should not affect the order. It should
not affect the order. It could, if it affects the order of a different round, fine, but it should not affect the order of the first round picks. The first round picks should be based on regular season results only.
Yeah, Moss is a roster clogger, says Ed.
Correct. Well, no, I don't think he's quite a roster clogger, because I think you can drop him. Yeah. I think you can drop him. He's not good enough to be a roster clogger.
I'm in a 3-team dynasty league, and
if you wanted to drop, if it was, let's say you're a contender, right? And this is the week you need to pick up, I don't know, you're down at receiver. Receivers on the COVID list. Laquan Treadwell this week is a streamer, actually. I think you can play him as a wide receiver 4. You need to drop Zach Moss. He's the only player you can drop, and you need to pick up Laquan Treadwell, and that's what you need to do. You need to go and win. You can drop him. So Zach Moss doesn't even qualify as being a roster clogger. He's not good enough. Roster cloggers to me are players like, Tim Patrick is actually kind of a roster clogger. You can't start him. You can't trade. You can never start him. You can never trade him, but you can't really drop him. So Tim Patrick is like a good example of a roster cloggers tend to be wide receivers.
Yeah. Allen Robinson.
Well, he is free agency, so you'll have one more sell window. So he's not quite a roster clogger, but I also kind of feel like Jacoby Myers is close to a roster clogger. He has like a lot of value, but you can't really start him. You don't have a lot of value, but he has value. You can't start him. You can't trade him. You can't cut him. Like what do you do with him? Jonnu Smith is kind of a roster clogger too.
It says better than what's on waivers. No one will ever pay you for him. You can't really play him. Talking about Moss. AG, every league is different. BJ, usually it goes to the worst team.
Yeah. It's usually the worst record, but I've seen potential points be used. I'm not a big fan of potential points. I prefer worst record. And I also prefer allowing people to tank. I'm fine with it. I think people should be allowed to tank. No lineup if they want. I don't care. Because I'm just not policing that. If I'm the commissioner, I'm not starting with that. I'm not going through and being like, well, you forgot this. I don't have time for that. Like, just let people do what they want to do. Let people tank. I don't care. Creates less work for the commish. Who cares?
Nathan says, would you rather have Antonio Gibson or Austin Eckler next year? What do you think?
Well, in redraft, if we're ranking 2022 redraft rankings, I'm going to rank Austin Eckler higher. But if we're talking about Dynasty, I'd still go with Gibson. Give me the 3 years and like 3 months. Gibson is like what? Oh, God, my age knowledge is not what it once was. But he's somewhere in the summer of 98. I think it's like June or July. And then Austin Eckler is May 17th, 1995 or something. So, it's something like that. So 3 years and a few months. So give me the age with Gibson. That's close.
Sean says he won his biggest league last year, number 1 seed this year, winning with a lot of vets. Do you ride it out or try to churn the roster? Hang on, I got
this is way too vague. This is such a vague question. Like that depends on your team. That depends on how dominant it is. That depends on the league. Like I cannot. It would be disingenuous. And I'm going to put my Patreon link.
Hang on, take the range real quick. I got something at my front door. You talk about it.
Got it. Yeah, I got you. It would be disingenuous for me to give a one-size-fits-all answer to this question. I can't tell you do one thing or do another thing. So yeah, I put my Patreon link in the comments. There it is. Oh, that's not what we want. I don't know how to hide. I don't know where this banner is, so I don't know how to hide it. Okay, we're gonna figure this out. But okay, this is why I always need I need Cal. Okay, yeah, here we are. So, in case for anyone doesn't know, I stay at the bottom of the chat in case any super chats come in, and I pull those up immediately. And Cal goes with the questions as we go. That's how kind of we team it. But yeah, no, generally, you could do either one, and that's a Patreon question that I would suggest you ask me at patreon.com/fantasyadvice, and I'll answer this question for you. There's only so much I can do on this show, right? Because this show is for everybody. So it's difficult to go, oh, you're back. I think we're done with this question. I talked about my Patreon and also just that it's hard to answer. This is not a question that has a general answer.
I always love it when I disappear for a few minutes and the viewership goes up. So I think I need to do that more often. That's good.
Yeah.
It's just get over.
Do that because I talked about while you were gone about how I was lost without you.
Okay. Let's see. Jesse.
In Dynasty, Gibson is greater than Eckler, but in 2022 redraft, Eckler will be ranked higher.
Jesse Riddle. Pitts is having one of the best tight end statistical seasons ever as a 20-year-old, but people expect him to look like Travis Kelce.
So they expected him not to play his rookie year at all?
Right.
So that's what Travis Kelce did in his rookie year.
Right. Expect him to look like
Kelce. So that's what they expected.
Year,
They expected nothing.
Yeah, even like go look at Gronk. I mean, like Gronk is like arguably the best tight end ever, right? So his rookie year, he scored some touchdowns, but
well, you said arguably. There's no argument to me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You might put it in Tony Gonzalez or somebody, right?
No,
Nathan,
he can't. He couldn't block like Gronk. Gronk is one of the best blockers ever.
I know,
which is insane, by the way.
It is. Nathan, I was just thinking after Ridley, he would get every target in that offense.
Doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
First of all, vacated targets, but also
doesn't work 95. That way.
But it doesn't work that way. When you take away good players from an offense, the scoring goes down.
Right.
You don't want the scoring to go down. You don't want that.
Well, that's what happened to Hawk, right? Like that's why. Right. That's why I wasn't on Hawk this year.
The way that vacated targets are not completely fake in that. If you're the wide receiver 4 on a team and you play 2% of snaps and then wide receiver 1 gets injured and all of a sudden you play 75% of snaps, then you could have fantasy value when you didn't before because you were on the field. Vacated targets are not a complete myth. They exist in that way because you can't get targets if you don't play. And if you do, you can. But Kyle Pitts' snaps did not change when Calvin Ridley got hurt. So all that happened is the offense became putrid. So that was not a good thing. That was a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because it didn't lead to an increase in his direct role. Yeah. Similar to how Antonio Brown going out did not help Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah. When people start saying like, oh, who else are they going to throw to? That's when you run away.
That's always bad. Yeah. But like,
not good. Of course, good advice is not going to follow whatever comes out.
But of course, you can stream someone like Josh Palmer or Jalen Guyton when the top receivers are out because it's a good quarterback, a good offense, and you expect maybe those players might score. So, the quarterback will deliver. So it does work that way. It just doesn't work that way when you're already at the top. It works that way more at the bottom than it does at the top.
Luke Patrick wants our Tony. By the way, we are a little bit over time, but since we ran with concurrent with the NFL,
I'll give you guys as much overtime as you need.
Yeah, some people are just now joining us. Yeah. So let's talk here. So, okay. Tony Pollard, free agency predictions. What do you think?
Is he a free agent? He's not a free agent until after 2022. So
yeah.
Can't predict that far out.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. Why would they? Why would the
You're
Cowboys
getting this
not want him
backfield
back?
again. You're getting this backfield again next year. So deal with it.
Yep. Let's see. Nicholas, would you trade Tyler Boyd for a second round pick? Nicholas has been killing it today. Thank you for all the questions,
True.
Nicholas. Would you trade Tyler Boyd for a second round pick or keep him? I have Diggs. He's not the best wide receivers.
Well, if you're third to last, I'll probably just take the pick and start over because it doesn't sound like you're doing great. So I'll just take the pick then.
Me too.
Probably would anyway, honestly.
Yeah, he's asking about one QB league.
I don't think.
Yeah, still sell Boyd for a random one.
Yeah, I don't think about it.
The mad scientist is appreciative of the plug and the kind words.
I try. I spend a lot of time plugging myself. I try to plug others the best I can. There's always. I did post an opportunity being like, hey, like, if any questions about how to grow your account, please comment. I'll answer them. And I got like 2 responses. So I don't know. Maybe people don't want my help, but it is there. You can ask me. If you're a creator watching this, a lot of people have gotten their creating career started from a conversation with me. So I'm just saying, I don't mind helping. I don't see it as a competition. I just want to help and, help people grow. So I'm always there for you.
Nicholas, we talked about this a little bit, but if you're trying to go from Waller to Pitts, what would you do? Forget Fan.
Waller's irrelevant.
Don't worry about Fan here, Nicholas.
Waller's irrelevant in a Pitts deal. I mean, it's going to cost at least Waller and a first, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that.
I agree.
I guess I would do it, but I don't know.
I have a couple of Waller trades that I pull up here. Waller this is a tight end premium. Waller for Alvin Kamara.
Kamara.
Yeah, I think it's Kamara there too. Waller this is a super flex for Tom Brady and Gronkowski.
I mean,
I guess it's, but that's probably a
Brady and Gronk.
That's probably a contender and a non-contender.
I'll take Brady and Gronk anyway. I want one more year of Brady in a super flex.
In a super flex, Darren Waller or Kirk Cousins and a 4th and 5th round pick.
I mean, if it's tight end premium, I'll still take Waller. If it's not, then I'll take Cousins.
Let's see. Kyle Pitts. Oh, here's a Kyle Pitts, Darren Waller trade. Kyle Pitts and a 4th for Daniel Jones and Waller in a non-premium superflex, non-tight end premium superflex league.
Pitts.
Yeah, I want Pitts there.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm not sure Daniel Jones has a job much longer.
I think Daniel Jones actually does have a job next year somehow, but
how, like, who makes more career starts for the rest of their, like, Daniel Jones or Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So yeah, I think if that's all it takes is adding a guy like Daniel Jones to get Kyle Pitts, then Nicholas, go for that.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'll find that a lot.
All of a sudden the audience is back.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're just now joining us, we are going over time a little bit. We'll spend, I don't know, whatever, 15, 20 minutes. If you got questions, go ahead and get them in. Better off asking the Pitts owner what they want. He has Albert. Oh, Tanya and I don't like.
I like Josiah DeGara.
Yeah, I guess. So maybe trade Waller to the Kittle owner.
Good luck with that.
Maybe.
Right. I mean, good luck with that. Right. Like, how are you going to do that? Nobody is going to want Waller. People don't want failure on their team. I mean, if you think about it, you're in the playoffs now, right? Someone was saying, "Oh, people don't punish players for they failed in the playoffs." Oh yeah, they do. Believe me. Oh yeah, they do. Mm-hmm. You're in the playoffs. You plan to have Darren Waller as your tight end. Oops, he didn't deliver down the stretch. You think people are going to trust him again? I don't think so. I think people are going to remember that. I think they're going to remember that he was could be the reason that they lost. You think you're going to be able to trade Darren Waller for Kittle in any reasonable deal? Of course not, because Kittle has been a playoff hero down the stretch, and Waller has done nothing during that time. So you're not going to be able to do that.
It is true. So let's see.
People in Dynasty are vindictive. Like, I don't think you realize
Maybe you do, but I don't think the general public realizes how vindictive the dynasty market can be.
I agree. Jacob wants to know Calvin Ridley's worth at this moment in draft picks.
Look, honestly, at this point, I'm not talking about Calvin Ridley anymore.
I'll
say one more thing about Calvin Ridley, and that's it. I believe Calvin Ridley never plays in the NFL again. I support Calvin Ridley's journey and advocacy for mental health. I'd actually love to hear from him speaking on that. But in terms of Calvin Ridley in fantasy football, I think I've said it enough times. I'm not trading for Calvin Ridley. I wish him the best. I hope that he, has a good life. And I honestly am done speculating about Calvin Ridley. I think I've said my piece on Calvin Ridley enough times at this point. It's not going to change.
Jacob, so at this point, Hopkins.
Easily. Hopkins.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking of Ridley in the same way we thought about Andrew Luck after he retired. That's kind of the way I view him.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'm fine with thinking of him that way. Little bit more chance he comes back, but
Eric, let's talk about Rashad Bateman. The good news is he played the most offensive snaps he's played all season last week. The bad news is he only got 2 targets.
Yeah, not good.
Not great.
What do you do at this point? I mean, you're stuck with someone who's stuck on an offense who just doesn't want to throw it. I mean, well, they did throw it to Mark Andrews. I don't know. I don't know. You would like to think the talent would shine through eventually, but he's not talented enough. He's not good enough to break out here.
Yeah.
He's just good. He's just good. Just good isn't good enough.
Could he do something similar to that Michael Pittman did last year? So, like, for instance, like he came in, he was hurt, right? And then things got better.
Pittman was the top receiving weapon on the team this year. Rashad Bateman is never going to be the top receiving weapon on the Ravens unless Mark Andrews gets hurt.
It's true. It's true.
And as low as the pass. And if you notice, all of a sudden, now that the Colts have changed their offense to run some more, Michael Pittman has been entirely unusable.
Well, and Hollywood had 14 targets last week, too.
Then that's a whole other problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a Tyler Huntley thing because Lamar didn't really do that. Lamar's not the Jarvis Landry receiver creator type of person. But right. You cannot trust Rashad Bateman. The hype is always going to be more than the real value. So he's going to be a hard avoid for me. But at this point, I've moved on from Hollywood Brown too, because it's the same problem. I mean, if we're going to get 14 targets and 10 receptions, what was it, 40 yards? I mean, that's not.
Yeah.
I don't want that either. That's not good enough.
Huntley, so I don't know that I can.
Huntley threw the ball better than Lamar did. That wasn't the problem. The problem is the offensive calling. And don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that Huntley should be the starter because Lamar as a runner is like the best running quarterback ever. And that counts for a lot. That counts for a lot. That means he should be a starter as long as he remains that, and he still is by a mile. So I'm not saying that. But I do think that Huntley he's a super flex asset.
Interesting. I want to know if Ed thinks that Lamar is better than Michael Vick.
Lamar is definitely better than Michael Vick.
I don't know.
Lamar's already had more 1,000-yard seasons than Vick. And Lamar's career is just starting.
He was a quarterback during a time where everyone wanted him to be a pocket passer. Like the league didn't like running quarterbacks like him. Did not believe you could be successful with a quarterback like him.
Vic didn't have this kind of running ability.
Oh,
not to the same level.
That's why I want Ed's opinion because
Ed's Ed's opinion, but
BJ, thank you guys for the help. Thank you for the questions here, BJ. I appreciate that. PJ, do I dare sit Jamar Chase in my Super Bowl? So if he's got the championship next week, is he sitting Jamar Chase?
No.
Who had 1.3 points last week?
I'll play Chase again.
Yeah, play Chase against Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm going to play Chase. I have Chase at wide receiver 11 for the week, so I'm playing him again.
Yeah, AG says, what are the options?
I'll go down with the ship.
Sitting him.
I'll go down with the ship. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, because look, and this is where you cannot, if you go all off season where the reason why you lost your championship is because you sat Jamar Chase, you're not going to be able to live with yourself.
You'll never be able to live it down.
No way. Eric wants to know what are you guys' Christmas plans? Are there any wish list items? What do you think? What about you? What's going on for Christmas for you?
Nothing really. I mean,
nothing.
Huh?
Wish list items. I am like getting old, and so like I am 40. Therefore, my wish list includes very different things than it would at Tyler's age. I kind of want some socks. Like I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, socks. That actually might be pretty good. Because I would never buy it for myself. So I don't know. You kind of get to the point where you talk yourself into things you thought were silly. Eric, you got to start Chase, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yep. It's time to move on and trade away Stephon Diggs.
Way too late.
I traded him for 2 firsts.
Way too late. I told you to do this 10 weeks ago. Yeah. Where were you when I told you to do this 10? Now it's too late. Now, I mean, you probably still can because people still like him. And honestly, I think my value on Stephon Diggs is too high, even now. Mm-hmm. But I do think it might be a little late. You can try, though. He's still a player. I'm hard sell for me.
Yeah. 2020 looks like an outlier now.
Oh, well, I've been saying that forever.
Yep. Charles says it just traded Najee, Darnold, Bateman for Clyde and Sermon. What? No, Charles. No.
Why? I don't understand. I don't get it.
No.
Why?
Don't trade Najee.
Oh, you can trade Najee, but not for this.
Certainly not for this.
I don't understand. Next question, I guess.
So much a terrible season too.
Yeah, it's a terrible trade.
He's another one. Eric, 2 first, if you can. Otherwise, might just ride Diggs in the sunset. Yeah, that was the decision I was facing, where I was okay riding out Diggs. I had like the 3rd most points and missed the playoffs still. So a guy who wanted him traded me 2 firsts for him. And
I'm not going to ride Diggs out. I'm sure I could during the offseason at some point trade Diggs for Elijah Moore and a little piece or something. I'm not going to ride Diggs out no matter what.
Benny wants to know if you have any top 3 low-key buys in the offseason. What do you think?
I just mentioned one of them. But is Elijah Moore low-key?
No, well, it depends. Maybe in certain leagues. Irv Smith as a way low-key buy?
Sure, but his ADP says that people haven't forgotten.
Yeah, it's 10 and 18.
Yeah, it's still very high. So it's very high for someone who's done nothing in his career, really.
Yeah.
So he's not really low-key. Yeah. I mean,
Rondale Moore?
No, I'm not buying Rondale Moore. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to look and see if you're talking about.
I mean, who's like low key that I'm buying, like someone who's under the radar. Those I don't tend to like those players. I mean, Nico Collins maybe would be someone who I think is undervalued. Yeah, Nico Collins.
And I still think I don't care. Like, J.K. Dobbins should not be RB18.
I agree, but I just don't think J.K. Dobbins can ever be considered low key.
No, I know, but still, like that's just like it almost like offends me as a human being that he's going as the RB18. Like he needs to be higher.
Also, Kadarius Toney, if the price really goes down, because with Sterling Shepard torn Achilles, that's probably the end of his career. I mean, he's not going to return for 2022 at all. So they need Kadarius Toney because Kenny Golladay is a bust. So if Kadarius Toney's price continues to fall, I would be fine acquiring him on the cheap.
Yeah, if you thought I was blunt on Charles's trade there, Eric says that sucks. A bunch of nothing burgers, and you gave up Najee's top 5 dynasty running back.
Well, I mean, I'm meaner than either you or Eric could ever be, but
Eric's great.
You know, they don't put me in the chair because I'm nice. It's the reality of the situation.
Zach Hansen, Rojo, and Antonio Brown are both available on my waiver wire. Who do I prioritize?
Antonio Brown. You prioritize Antonio Brown because Antonio Brown is the top 10 wide receiver this week.
I sort of think Ronald Jones could be like the last running back, like only active running back in Tampa Bay, and they'll just throw the ball 75 times.
You want to know where I have Ronald Jones ranked this week?
Where? Who? Where?
RB12.
What? You are why? Why?
Now I said Sony Michel this week.
Okay.
I also had. There were a lot of things. I mean, I had a lot of things right this week. So, even though some people say that I get everything wrong, surprisingly, I have sometimes I have good takes and they're right. People didn't want to trust James Robinson this week, and I trusted him. Stuff like that. So I'm not perfect, but I'm not going to shy away from the ranking if I think that's the right thing to do.
Ronald Jones could trip and fall over himself on the first carry and not get
I'm putting Ronald Jones in my in semifinals. I'm going to have to tell people to do this. I know.
No,
I'm putting him.
Carolina's good against the run. I had to go look up.
That's fine. You can have the 25 points on your bench, but I'm gonna put him in. I will. I'm gonna put him in, and I'll go down with the ship. I don't care.
Oh my gosh, the situation I would have to be in to play Ronald Jones this week.
I have him ranked as an RB1, so I'm gonna play him in most situations.
Eric says both, but probably Rojo. Okay, so maybe more people are on your side here.
No, it's definitely Antonio Brown, because Antonio Brown I have ranked at wide receiver 8.
Yeah. Remember I was talking about Saquon Barkley and people are going to talk themselves into him? Exhibit A is Ronald Jones.
Oh, I'd rather play Ronald Jones this week than Saquon Barkley. Don't start with that.
People talk themselves into Ronald Jones over and over again.
No, I'm good. I'm good with it.
They're going to do that with Saquon.
I'm going to play Ronald Jones. I think it's a bold move. I'm going to play him ahead of, have him ranked ahead of Javonte Williams. I like it. It's a big move.
Matthew says, thoughts on the QB room with Jalen Hurts and Justin. Did you get this from my Twitter? Because I put out a poll about these two.
If this is a Superflex and this is all you have, it's like, okay. I'd like something a little better. If this is one QB, then it's fine.
These are both QB1s, yeah?
Yeah, but if this is a Superflex and this is all you have, then I'm a little shaky. But if it's a one QB, it's no problem. Then it's totally fine.
Who do you play this week?
Oh, Hurts.
If you have to choose one.
Hurts, right? I mean, I have Hurts at 7 and Fields at 16. So Hurts easy.
Yep. Go if you're watching this, go vote on that poll. If you're watching this Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I still have I have them back to back, and I still have Fields higher. But I can understand why people would go another way.
Eric, he thinks you're solid, like both of them. Even though people hate on him. Yeah.
I think a lot of people like Hurts too. No.
Thank you, PJ.
Go look back at the numbers.
The numbers don't tell the whole story. They don't.
But they do tell the whole story. Well, they tell some of the story because Lamar
era matters in this.
It's not all about era though. Like Lamar is explosive and he was good as a runner from the beginning.
Michael Vick is also explosive.
I get it, but like I actually think that Lamar. Lamar had 1,200 yards. I get it. But he was efficient too. I mean, he had a level of efficiency and a level of rushing production that Vic never had. And you can say era, but it is what it is. He still made the carries, right?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Lamar. I do worry that what happens when the legs go.
No, see, I'm not as worried about that. And partially because of Vic and the rushing season he had up when he was like 32 years old. So we're a long way away from there.
Yeah, sure. But actually, Vic was able to execute as a passer that season. And that's a lot of why he was still really good. He was able to execute as a passer like he couldn't previously in his career.
Yeah.
He still did a lot of
damage on the ground, though.
But he suddenly became a good passer as well, if I remember correctly.
Gosh, he had a cannon for an arm. Do you think a team
that's another thing. I mean, Vic has one of the biggest arms. He wasn't very accurate, but he had a cannon for an arm, like you said. Completely agree with that.
That interview where he said he used to want to play as Brady, or I can't even fathom because
I love
everybody
that.
wanted to be Michael
He didn't
Vick.
want to play as himself in ESPN NFL 2K5.
He's the
right?
only one because everybody else
Everyone
wanted
else,
to be Michael Vick.
that was before my time as a video. I mean, I guess it was 10, 11, 9 or 10, but I didn't.
Nathan wants to know about Huntley next
Well,
season.
no,
I don't think
because
so.
he's an exclusive rights free agent, so they're going to be able to retain him at a cheap price. When it comes to Huntley, I think that there's no reason the Ravens would trade him. I think you would need to offer them minimum second round pick to even consider letting him go. Otherwise, they just keep him.
No GM in the league is going to think they can bring in Huntley as the starter and think the fan base will be fine.
Now, I will say this, though. Huntley has Superflex Dynasty value because if he plays, he's a quarterback one. So anyone it's not like a lot of other backups. When Huntley comes in, he's a quarterback one. I mean, I have Huntley ranked this week. I ranked Huntley, as of now, assuming Lamar is not going to play, it would change. But I have Huntley at quarterback 9. So, QB1 for the week. So I would, he's a must roster, obviously. And yeah, I talked about this a little bit in the article. I mean, is it possible he gets another chance of starting job? Sure, a chance of starting job. But who was the last player to really come through that path? Like coming up from nowhere and then getting poached by another team and becoming their starter. Who's the last player who really did that? Tyrod Taylor is really the last one to come up as a starter that way. You have other late round picks getting a chance, but that's not the same. Like Dak got a chance on his own
Kirk Cousins?
Team. No. Kirk Cousins got a chance on his own team for multiple years and then signed with another team in free agency. He was Washington starter for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like Tyrod Taylor didn't even play in Baltimore and then mysteriously became Buffalo's starter. Mm-hmm. He's the last player to really take that path. Like guys like Gardner Minshew, Dak, Cousins, they got a chance based on an injury on their own team. That happens. But, to just kind of be a stash. I mean, I guess Jimmy Garoppolo was kind of that way. He was never really the Patriots starter, but he was still a second round pick, someone who was expected to be a starter eventually. We're talking about someone who comes out of nowhere, just becoming a starter later. There really aren't a lot of players who've actually done that. So he's more of just a stash, but at the end of the day, points are points. So, right.
It's true. Eric says Ravens probably resign him to be a backup.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah, no, they will. 100%.
Am I concerned about Kelsey and Hill on the COVID list? We talked about this a little bit.
With the new protocols, I think the odds are in favor that they clear, but you'll know by, I don't know what the deadline is, but hopefully you'll know by Saturday. You'll have a good idea by Saturday.
Don't miss any sleep over it, Ja Webb, but yeah.
It's tough though, because there's a couple Saturday games, a Thursday game. So it's possible you don't have pivots for them or you have to decide on that. I guess you probably have to try to wait for Kelsey and Hill if you can.
Charles said Tom Brady in a 2023 third for James Conner and Carr in a Dynasty Superflex.
Well, I mean,
contending team, he says.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, Brady took a big hit without Godwin and Evans. I'd obviously still rather, I mean, you can't play Carr this week. But if you need a running back and have no one else, I can understand why you would take Connor. Just from a dynasty perspective, I'd rather have Carr and Connor. Gar, I think, is going to have multiple years. Connor is going to have something. I mean, Connor's worth more than the third, and I'd rather have Carr over Brady in dynasty. Yeah,
correct.
I think Carr, I think, has 4 or 5 years left.
All the conversation about Tom Brady not having his weapons the other day, every person he was throwing to on the field from the start to finish, like, you would take all those people over every offensive weapon the Saints had on the field other than Alvin Kamara.
That's true, but I still think that maybe he's not going to be at the level of he was without Evans, Godwin, and also Fournette, who's accomplished a lot in the receiving game.
Well, and now, I guess apparently Ronald Jones is going to be the one that goes off there. So we know.
I think that Ronald Jones. Well, I don't have him ranked as high as I've had Fournette previously because I don't think he's going to get the same receiving work that Fournette got.
Also, Derek Carr is quietly throwing for 297.3 yards per game and completing 68.2% of his passes this year, with yards per attempt comparable to the last 2 years. There's nothing wrong with your Derek Carr. If he's not starting there, he's going to be starting somewhere. Players like that are not available. Look at how desperate teams are for a starter. Derek Carr has many years of being an NFL starter left.
Eric disagrees and says Keith Brady is probably going to outlast Derek Carr.
That's wrong. Derek Carr, I think, has 4 or 5 years left minimum.
Before this season, I did do a poll at who is going to have the most QB1 weekly finishes and I had Brady, Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, and not Derek Carr, Jared Goff. I can't remember who the fourth one was.
Brady.
But it was Brady.
Yeah.
Okay. What is going on with Metcalf? Could I trade Diggs for Metcalf?
If you cannot trade Diggs for Metcalf, I mean, I would love to, but you can't. I don't think you can get that.
Not. I agree. Yeah, their value.
I mean, Metcalf had 12 targets today,
which is good.
6 for 52.
Broken right now.
Totally broken. Yeah. I mean, Russell Wilson is done there, and honestly,
I think that's what's going on. There's
and I think that's going to improve the offense because 17 for 31 for 156 and an interception just won't do.
Who's going to be his quarterback next year? There's a lot of questions with Metcalf.
I don't know.
Dak or Burrow in week 16?
Burrow.
How do you have it ranked?
Burrow.
Dak has Washington?
I don't care. I'm not going to Dak again.
Washington's been bad.
I don't care. I'm not going to Dak again.
Dak has slightly higher ceiling. It's true. He's been cold.
I mean, Baltimore's defense was not good it was very bad this last week.
Matthew wants to know if you're going to hold Miles Sanders this offseason. And
well, most certainly not.
I don't want to hold him. I might want to trade him right now if I can.
Yeah, I would try to trade him right now, but it's hard for me to answer this because I would never have Miles Sanders. I don't have Miles Sanders to hold. He would have been long gone. I don't know. I mean, I would try to trade him, but what can you really get? Like
131 yards, but on 18 carry. He's just never going to get the work we want him to.
He's the best of the players they have. Everyone else they have is a lot of failure.
Yeah, they gave the ball to Jordan Howard 15 times.
That was a rousing success, right? I mean,
yeah. And Jalen Hurts stole 2 touchdowns at the goal line.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a problem.
Then go to next year, rate Godwin. Oh, the torn ACL. Oh.
Brutal.
Godwin.
Brutal.
Pittman, Judy. I don't know who. Oh, Elijah Moore is Empire. And why? Elijah Moore.
I mean, are we talking Dynasty?
Yeah.
I'll have Pittman first, then Godwin, then Moore, and then Judy last.
Yeah. Judy, man.
Judy has received a punishment in my rankings.
I don't even know what to say about him right now. I really don't.
What to say?
Drew Lock is obviously not good for him.
And that won't work as an excuse.
No, I'm just saying, like, it just.
Well, I don't want to hear excuses. Excuses don't score. You don't score fantasy points. Are we in an excuse league right now?
No,
I don't think so. So those excuses are not going to do me any good. If you started him, he gave you nothing, and you got a 0. You might as well have started Julio Jones.
And I took a 0 from him. And like you said, if that knocks somebody out of the playoffs, they're never going to forgive him.
You're never going to forgive him. For this week coming up, I've ranked Jerry Jeudy at wide receiver. Despite playing Vegas, I'm ranking Jeudy as wide receiver 43. You cannot play him.
I'm close to being with you. I'm not ready to give up yet.
Well, I mean, I'd rather hang on to the guy. I mean, if you want to talk about someone who I'm giving up on, I mean, Courtland Sutton. Yeah, no, Courtland Sutton also. I mean, he's 3.5 years older, has has his ACL tear, which he's never looked the same after. And then this week, He did accomplish something this week, though. He accomplished something. For the first time in his career in a game that him and Jerry Jeudy both started, he actually outscored him 3.2 to 0. 2 for 12 on 7 targets. That's unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. This is the Alberto phenomenon. Alberto just came and, may have delivered a big, we can call it a poop on everyone else.
Eric said he would sell Miles for a first if you can, which I happen to pull up DLF Trade Finder, and he has gone for a first.
Yeah, you can.
Going into next year, rate Godwin. Yeah, we'd already do this one.
But I'm fine with Miles. I mean, Miles Sanders, if you're going to pick someone, I mean, I'd rather pick him later than Josh Jacobs earlier. Those are my options.
Would I rather have Jacobs or Sanders? I might rather.
Well, I mean, if I'm going to have to pay earlier for Jacobs, I'd rather have Sanders later. If those are my choices. I mean, I'd rather have Sanders than failure. I mean, failure, that's Clyde Edwards' failure. Failure, you're never, I mean, when are you ever going to be able to start failure? You can't possibly, I mean, failure just takes up a lineup spot, produces nothing, and then you wonder why in the Chiefs offense he can't produce anything. Whereas like Sanders at least is a little bit better. So, I'd rather have him over failure.
He scored this week, didn't he?
Failure?
Yeah.
Did he?
He scored the last few weeks, I think, didn't he? Or was that a 2-point conversion? I can't remember.
Yeah, no, this week, 9 for 32.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Not good. And 2 catches for 18 yards, not good. So not good.
Not good. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, Eric tried to be meaner on that. Eric Hurst now. Which side would you rather have, Waddle and Higgins or Lamb in a second?
Waddle and Higgins.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a good question, I think.
I guess so. I'm pretty confident in that answer. I like Higgins a lot. One down week is not enough to scare me off of Higgins, and I like Waddle.
I do too. But you're talking about a top 3 wide receiver versus where would you have Waddle and Higgins? I mean, they're not wide receiver.
I have Lamb at 3, Waddle at 10, and Higgins at 14.
So in the December ADP, Waddle's going 15, Higgins is going 16.
So I have them both higher.
Yeah, that's why I think it's closer.
I'll take Waddle and Higgins.
Yeah, Eric agrees with you.
I won't say easily, but it was an easy decision. It's not.
What? No, Eric.
No, this one. No. Not that. Not quite. Not that one. CeeDee Lamb is a better player than Jalen Waddle. I like Jalen Waddle. I like Jalen Waddle, but CeeDee Lamb is a different caliber of player, I think.
Alex says we'll have 102 in Superflex. Plan to take a QB, trade Najee.
Well, you might need to take a QB because in the Darnold is not good. So, yeah, you might want to. I mean, if there's a quarterback worth taking, or if you need to trade Najee for a quarterback, I mean, you might have to do that because if you don't have quarterbacks in Superflex, you can't win.
This might be a situation partially because of. And we're not quite ready for this. This might be a situation where I might look to trade that 102.
Maybe. But what's the point in having Najee on a team that doesn't have quarterbacks? You're wasting Najee on a team that can't win. So,
agreed.
I'm fine trading Najee for quarterback.
Agreed. Eric, too much can change until May. Hard to say. Value. Exactly. Strong contender this year. What to do with Mixon if wanting to compete again next year? Is he worth a 2022 first?
He's worth more than that.
He's worth more than a first.
He's worth more than that. Yeah, he's worth more than a single first. There will be 0 players, quarterbacks aside, there will be 0 positional players that I prefer over Mixon in this draft. I can already say that I'm very confident in that.
Man, Eric killing it in the chat here. Answering a bunch of questions. Loves it. Love it, Eric. Love it. Nice job. Charles, what are good trade options for DK in the offseason?
0 chance I'm moving DK.
I don't think I'm moving him either.
Stronghold.
I think because there's going to be so many questions about him.
AJ Brown, I'll move, but not DK.
I traded Nick Chubb for AJ Brown in a league. I was so excited.
I love it.
Yeah, if you own DK, you got to hold. So Eric ultimately agrees there. What picks can you get for Kareem Hunt?
Nothing.
much.
Nothing. I think people are tired of Hunt. He didn't really do anything this year.
2 seconds, maybe.
Can you get it? I take it, but can you get it?
What I can get is this off of the screen, and I can say that's a really good show right there, Tyler. Now we competed with the NFL, and
that didn't work out.
We found out the NFL is pretty good at this whole thing. So
no, we can't compete with them.
Christmas will come before the next time that we see each other. So Merry Christmas. I appreciate, and I'm glad that we get to go into Christmas here as the duo here on Ask DLF. I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody that tuned in and watched this. So you guys have a Merry Christmas. Tyler, any last words before we sign off?
I love you all, and I hope that you all win your semifinal matchups, or for some reason you have the finals this week. Hope you win.
Yeah, me too. Go win those championships. Let us know if we did anything ever to help you. Hit us up.
Title always counts.
Yeah. Flags fly forever. Go get